Hi, hello. This video is for women leaders who work within male-dominated industries. My name is Jacqueline Twillie, and today I wanted to hop on to share with you some tips for negotiating during a crisis. Now, the tips that I'm sharing with you are from my latest best-selling book, Don't Leave Money on the Table, Negotiation Strategies for Women Leaders. This book you can find on Amazon. I'm going to share with you 5 tips from this book to help you to negotiate during the crisis. So I have this method that I use. It's 5 steps. It's called latte. Okay? Yes, like coffee, latte. L, look. A, anticipate. T, think. The second T, talk. And the 5th and final step is evaluate. That's what latte stands for. So a lot of us are dealing with the recent changes in our lives because of the COVID-19 pandemic. Well, I want to share with you some tips for negotiating. Whether you are negotiating for things with your employer, performance reviews are still happening. I'm still talking to clients who are prepping for their performance reviews. They've just moved to a virtual setting. Or if you're negotiating for something personally, like maybe you're talking to your car loan company or you're talking to your bank about loans that you have and you're looking to extend the dates of payment to hang on to some cash right now until things get a little bit more certain. I'm going to share these 5 tips with you so that you set yourself up to negotiate during crisis and get more of what you want. Now, the first step in latte, and again, these tips are from the book, Don't Leave Money on the Table, Negotiation Strategies for Women. When you're negotiating in a crisis, you have to look at the details. Don't just hop in and start the conversation. You have to have a plan before you start negotiating in a crisis. So look at the details. What is it that you want? Who are you talking to? What is it that they want? And think of ways when you're looking at the details where both of you can come out with a win-win. Now, if you're looking to negotiate during your performance review, one of the things that you'll have to do is you need to look at your company's current standing. How are they currently doing? Are you still operating? Are your services online, your company services? For instance, I'm just going to use the company Zoom. Zoom is not being negatively impacted by this current crisis. In fact, they're seeing an increase in their business. So if you were working for Zoom and you're going into your performance review, you need to go with your game plan together. Go in knowing that your company has the money to give you that promotion or raise if you've been working towards that. So on the flip side, looking at the details, if you're going to call your bank and you have a loan with your bank and you're asking them to give you a relief time until this crisis is over to pay back that loan, you need to look at all of the details. You need to know all of your numbers. What are your current terms? What's your current interest rate? Have you been on time in the past, etc., etc.? So look at all of those details. Now, the second step that you want to pay attention to when you're negotiating during a crisis is anticipate challenges, okay? Now, this is super important. Inside of the book, Don't Leave Money on the Table, I'll walk you through different examples of how you can anticipate a challenge. Now, when you are anticipating challenges, I want you to create a list. You can make bullets of what those challenges are, but don't stop there. Now, this is important. Pay attention. When you're anticipating your challenges and negotiating during a crisis, you need to be prepared with what you're going to say in response to that challenge, all right? So think about this. If you've ever been in a situation where after the fact, you say to yourself, should have said this, or I should have done that, this is where this anticipate the challenge step comes in very handy for you. You think about different scenarios and then you think of your response. So what this does, it eliminates all of those thoughts after the fact. I should have said this and I should have done that. You're putting yourself in a position to negotiate during a crisis where you are giving yourself the upper hand because you've thought through the steps. You've thought through what they would say and what your response would be. Again, I give you more examples inside of the book. Now let's talk about the third step. while you're negotiating during a crisis, okay? If you're negotiating during this crisis, whether it's your performance review or you're calling your bank to extend your grace period on a loan or anything like that, we talked about 1, look at the details, 2, anticipate the challenges, and number 3, this is important. This is almost the most important thing of this 5-step framework. You have to think about your walkaway point. At what point do you say, you know what, I'm going to call it a day. I'm not going to push this any further. You have to think through that before you even have that conversation in a negotiation. What happens is people feel like their backs get pushed against the wall and they have no options. And when you get to a place where you feel like you don't have any options, guess what happens? You don't make a rational decision. In business, as well as in life, information is power. The more you know, the better informed decisions you can make. And that knowing is in part of knowing when to walk away. Now, each person in each negotiation, you're going to have a different walk away point, which is why you want to go through this framework before you start negotiating during this crisis. All right. Now, our 4th step, talk it through. If you're uncomfortable having conversations like this or negotiating on your own behalf, you got to talk it through before you actually have that conversation with your boss, whether you're negotiating at the time of your performance review or you're negotiating with your bank. So you can work with someone like myself, a negotiation strategist, and we'll role play, or you can just pull out your phone and say what you want to say in your phone, but then here's the key, play it back. You have to listen to yourself so you can critique how you need to change how you say this or change how you say that. All right, so when you're negotiating during a crisis, we talked about 4 steps already. You want to look at the details, anticipate your challenge, think about your walkaway point, talk it through, which is your practice before you actually say it, and then once you have that conversation, talk it through, point B, the 5th step is going to be evaluate your options. You have power. Anytime you are in a conversation with someone, whether you're negotiating your performance review during a crisis or you're negotiating with your bank during a crisis, you have power. So once you present your question or your offer and you wait and get a response, you have the power to decide if you're going to move forward or not. It's so important that you all understand that you always have options, even if you don't feel like you have options. Remember I said step number 3 was like a really important piece. It's like the center of a wheel. You have to know that you have power. Now, when you're using these 5 steps to negotiate during the crisis, I'm going to repeat them once again. Look at the details, anticipate the challenge, think about your walk away point, then you're going to talk it through and evaluate your options. These are the 5 steps that I talk about in this book, Don't Leave Money on the Table, Negotiation Strategies for Women Leaders. So as we're all dealing with this new world that we live in, our lives have pretty much been put on halt as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. It is still a chance for you to advocate for yourself and for you, when you're negotiating during this crisis, for you to get the best deal possible. Don't leave money on the table, my friends. If you have any questions, send me a message. You can shoot me a text to 678-774-9494. Next week, I'm starting a group coaching series for the month of April. And if you want more information about that, shoot the text to me. I'll get you more information. Once again, that number is 678-774-9494. And the tips that I shared with you today are from my best-selling book, Don't Leave Money on the Table, Negotiation Strategies for Women. So, all right, y'all, I want y'all to win. If you have to, go back, watch this video again, type some notes into your phone so that you're setting yourself up to get more of what you want. And if you have a friend who's negotiating at work this week, make sure you share this video with her too. Until next time, continue to emulate excellence and eliminate excuses.